If you want to write clear sentences with grammar and punctuation as your ally, but phrases like compound predicate and subordinate conjunction leave your mind blank, I'd like to help. In this video series, I'm going to present the rules of grammar and punctuation without any jargon and with a heap of examples. Also, at the end of the video, I've got a special offer to make, which is designed to make your writing shine. So, don't leave before you've had a look at that. I really think it can help. Right then, without further ado, let's jump into one of the most common punctuation problems. You've got a sentence with a joining word in the middle, and, but, or, nor, yet. And you don't know if you should put a comma before the joining word. Should it be, Tom shouted but Rachel did not come? Or, Tom shouted but Rachel did not come? Here's how you can know. Just delete the joining word and replace the comma with a full stop or period, like this. Tom shouted, Rachel did not come. Then ask this simple question. Are both those sentences complete? Tom shouted, yes, that's a complete sentence. It's a full piece of information. Or we could say, a complete thought. Rachel did not come? Yes, that's complete too. We split the sentence in half and both halves made complete sentences on their own. Here's the rule. Place a comma before the joining word if both halves make complete sentences. Therefore, we should add a comma. Tom shouted, but Rachel did not come. That's perfect. How about this sentence? Steve drove to the shop and bought 6 carrots. Let's delete the joining word and replace the comma with a full stop or period. Steve drove to the shop, bought 6 carrots. Are both of those sentences complete? Steve drove to the shop? Yes. Bought 6 carrots? No. Those words couldn't stand on their own. We'd have no idea who bought the carrots. We split this sentence in half and only one half made a complete sentence on its own. Now remember, place a comma before the joining word if both halves make complete sentences. Therefore, we should not add a comma to this sentence. Steve drove to the shop and bought 6 carrots. Perfect. Alright, let's look at some more examples. The road stretched on for miles, yet every mile was a pleasure to drive. The road stretched on for miles. Every mile was a pleasure to drive. Are both of those complete sentences? Yes. Place a comma before the joining word if both halves make complete sentences. Should there be a comma? Yes. In the autumn, leaves turn from green to gold and tumble to the ground like soft rain. In the autumn, leaves turn from green to gold, tumble to the ground like soft rain. Are both of those complete sentences? No. We'll place a comma before the joining word if both halves make complete sentences. Should there be a comma? No. The books on the bookshelf hadn't been read in years, yet they were treasured no less than when they were new. The books on the bookshelf hadn't been read in years. They were treasured no less than when they were new. Are both of those complete sentences? Yes. Place a comma before the joining word if both halves make complete sentences. Should there be a comma? Yes. Alright, let's take a breather because you might have a big why. Why does this rule instruct me to add a comma when both halves make complete sentences? Well, complete sentences are not only capable of standing on their own, but they should stand on their own. Something needs to separate them. When two sentences sit together with a joining word in the middle, a comma does that necessary task of separation. And back to some more examples. Science fiction and fantasy are commonly abbreviated SFF, but if someone doesn't know that term, they may be confused by it. Science fiction and fantasy are commonly abbreviated SFF. If someone doesn't know that term, they may be confused by it. Are both of those complete sentences? Yes. Place a comma before the joining word if both halves make complete sentences. Should there be a comma? Yes. Computers can sometimes be helpful and complicated at the same time. Computers can sometimes be helpful, complicated at the same time. Are both of those complete sentences? No. Place a comma before the joining word if both halves make complete sentences. Should there be a comma? No. I have a pair of sunglasses and a sun hat which often falls off my head. I have a pair of sunglasses, a sun hat which often falls off my head. Are both of those complete sentences? No. Place a comma before the joining word if both halves make complete sentences. Should there be a comma? No. All right, let's take a breather and remind ourselves exactly what we're doing. First, we take a sentence with a joining word in the middle, and, but, or, nor, yet. Second, we delete the joining word and insert a full stop or period to create two sentences. Third, we ask this simple question: do both those halves make complete sentences on their own? And finally, we apply this rule. Place a comma before the joining word if both halves make complete sentences. Well, if you're ready to keep the method in your memory, let's head back to some more examples. Happiness is precious and joy is wonderful. Happiness is precious, joy is wonderful. Should there be a comma? Yes. You can have raspberry ice cream with a wafer or strawberry ice cream with chocolate sauce. You can have raspberry ice cream with a wafer, strawberry ice cream with chocolate sauce. Should there be a comma? No. Let me know if you'd like to come, but you don't have to say anything if you'd like to stay. Let me know if you'd like to come. You don't have to say anything if you'd like to stay. Should there be a comma? Yes. You haven't included any questions in your examples, but does this rule apply to them too? You haven't included any questions in your examples. Does this rule apply to them too? Should there be a comma? Yes. The rule applies to questions and statements in the same way. The rule applies to questions, statements in the same way. Should there be a comma? No. This is the last example, but I hope everything is clear now. This is the last example. I hope everything is clear now. Should there be a comma? Yes. That's it. It's really no more tricky than that. Now, I don't expect you to go through everything you've written, deleting the joining words and adding full stops or periods. You might like to do that to begin with, but very soon this process should occur in your imagination. In my head, both of these are almost instinct. Do both halves make complete sentences on their own? And place a comma before the joining word if both halves make complete sentences. And that's why I recommend them. I believe they're easy to memorize. Also, I'll be watching the comments section, ready to answer any questions you might have. And I wish you all the best on your writing endeavours. This has been my first grammar and punctuation video, but it won't be my last. However, there's no need to wait for my next video because I've got an offer for you. I'll edit the punctuation and grammar in any 2 paragraphs of your writing. You could choose the most awkward ones if you like. I'd probably do that if I were you. Then, when I return your writing, I'll include full descriptions of every edit I made so that you can apply them to the rest of your writing. I'd love to help. For more information, click the link at the top of the description.